Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to this chapter chat. Um, Thank you for taking the time to join this chat today. We appreciate your continued engagement and the important role each and every one of you play in supporting chapters and us, Sigma Xi, the headquarters. So, Stacia is going to share the presentation. So today's session will focus on two areas like we had mentioned, a little bit review on the annual reporting process. Some of you are new. I see Peter Martin. We just met with him. It seems like this week, this is the second time.
Mm.
Um, and then a little overview of the treasurer's report. What are these? These are the two reports that you must file as a chapter officer every year. It's required and it starts as of July 1, 2026. So before the portal is open, we just wanted to kind of touch base as to give you a little bit of what it is and what you do. It's pretty simple, not hard once you look at it. So our goal is to make sure everybody feels confident, well informed as you complete these reports, and to provide the clarity in case if you have questions, you know where to go to, and you can always shoot us an email if you are stuck somewhere while filling the reports out. It's online. All you do at the end, submit. Um, and then we'll keep the session focused on this for this time. And at the end, you'll have some, we have left about 10, 15 minutes for Q&A in case you have any other questions. Please bring it forward. But again, thank you very much. And we cannot but appreciate your ongoing leadership and dedication to this job. So without further ado, let's get started. I'm going to let Stacia take this over.
All right, thanks, Jasmine. All right, thanks everyone again, Jasmine said, for joining us. So we're going to go straight into it. So first, we're going to talk about the annual report. So the annual report is the report where it's really just showing everything that the chapter has done throughout the year. We would like to know who are the chapter leaders, any possible programs that occurred within the chapter that year, just kind of a snapshot so that for your records as well as our records, we just kind of see what the chapter has accomplished throughout that year. So the first step is to go, of course, to log on to sigmazi.org. And then whenever you log in, then right here, then you will see under self-service, it will have annual report and treasurer's report. These are not always there. It only happens whenever it is getting closer towards the submission time. So you should see it now whenever you log in. So you click on either one of those, and then as Jasmine said, it's very simple. A lot of the information is pre-filled from the previous year. So if everything remains the same, then it's really just click save. And then of course, if there's any changes, you would edit those. But this is what it looks like from top to bottom. So this is a direct snapshot. So if you look at the report, as I said, that if you have any information that you don't already have in there, then you can edit those. And then this, um, excuse me, yeah, so we'll help you be acquainted with information that you need to discuss with your chapter officers, and this shows right here. So on the next page, again, this is another snapshot. So right here at the top, it shows the vice president, treasurer, their names, the delegate, whoever attended I-4 for that year, and then this be where you would just write any of the chapter activities. These are things, of course, to keep track throughout the year to make it be easier. You can create notes throughout the year, put a little checklist or something in your personal files, and then that could easily be filled over here. Um, it doesn't have to, we will, of course, as detailed as possible, but we just want to know what it is, what happened, what type of program it was, the name of the program. Again, just a snapshot. And then also this is helpful because we do keep a track of these. And then, of course, if there's any ideas that certain chapters had a certain program, then we share those with other chapters too. So we like to get as much information as possible. Okay.
Background speaker.
All right. Continuing. I'm sorry.
Did anyone have any questions so far? Okay.
Okay. So this is the again, more part of the annual report. This part is pre-filled, And then where it has good standing fiscal year, this is
Mm-hmm.
also filled. I'm going to continue here. These will already be pre-filled based on whoever was there last year. Well, the drop down will have their names. So you would have to click on the drop down and then select the names. If there is not a particular name in there, please reach out to us. It could be that maybe the membership has not been renewed or there's something that we can fix on our end. But always reach out if you don't see a particular person's name filled in here. Or if there is a new officer, then we would need to know that, and then we would manually input them in here.
नहीं पाएगा कल होगा
Okay, continuing here. So this is for
तेरा
the
जो कल
delegate.
होगा हम्म? क्या बोलती हो
Okay, I think somebody's mic is not muted, or maybe I do not know, but we're getting some feedback.
Yeah. Um, okay, so as far as the delegate, you may not need a delegate for your chapter that year. That is something that we'll let you know. We will send out an email specifically if your chapter does need a delegate. So be on the lookout for that. If there is no delegate will be sent, and of course you would select that right there. We really do, as I keep reiterating, it is super simple. And then we are always answering your questions. If you need to, please don't hesitate to reach out if there's anything that you're confused about. So again, if there's any new chapter leaders, just follow through those questions. And this is on page 3. Continuing the questions here as well. This part, I would like to highlight the chapter activities. So, chapter awards, that is something that we announce during I-4. So if you know that your chapter has accomplished outstanding members or had any particular activities that you would like to be highlighted, then this is where you would indicate yes, you would like to be nominated right here, but that's not required, so you can always choose no. And then any activities, you would select add activity, and then you would just fill in all the information under this table here. Does anyone have any questions before I move on? No? Okay. All right, so now we get towards the end. Save your progress button. This is if you have to come back. You don't have all the information, so you need to leave, get the information, and come back. You can always save and then resubmit later. Again, if you're finished, then you can just go ahead and submit. And then that automatically sends to us and it automatically updates in our system so that we know the date and time that your report was submitted. Okay. And I will allow Jasmine to discuss the treasurer's report.
Okay, so before I do this, I just wanted to kind of explain what a delegate is. Because some of us are new over here, and delegate is a representative of a chapter that you send to the annual conference, which is the business meeting. That happens in November of every year. This year, we're going to have it virtually, held virtually, and it will be where you can take it from where you are. You do not have to travel. If you were to travel, then Sigma will pay for the airfare to come to the meeting, but you'll have to pay for the registration. I do know some of our chapters are reactivating, so they would not have to, but we'll reach out to you separately how you register. For those that are active doing work, and for those chapters, it's $75 to register. But again, this requirement is only once in 3 years, which means if you attended last year, you don't need to send a delegate this year or next year. We'll reach out to you saying if you need a delegate or not. But nothing stops you from attending every year because it's good to do the networking, know what we are doing. It's the business part of the meeting that happens on Thursday. This year, it's going to be November 6th. And 7th and 8th, it's followed by a science uh, forum or international forum on research excellence, which is a different programs where we have presentations. There's a student research conference and competition. So all that happens on Friday, Saturday, but the business happens on Thursday, which is done. We follow the Roberts Rule of Order, and it's really done very professionally by a parliamentarian. So it's a good way to attend. At that time, we also have a chapter showcase. So some of the chapters, we've done a great job. They won awards. We try to tell them, come and showcase your chapter so the others could learn. And typically that session is fully attended. We have 100% of attendance. So I would encourage everybody to think about that and do attend. Because it's virtual, it's not as bad. Registration fees compared to the in-person one, which is about 200, 250, or sometimes it's $300. So that's one plus on having a delegate coming this year, then you don't have to go next year and the year after. Self-nominate for the award. Chapter awards, like Stacia mentioned, there are some chapters who does during the chapter activities throughout the year. They do stuff that are committee on qualification and membership. They review all the chapter reports and they go through all the activities and find the best one. So last year we did award quite a few chapters, and it's really worth getting that award because we'll provide you with a certificate. Let your dean know, let the university officials know that the chapter of Sigma Xi on your campus did win this award. So that way, the deans and the chancellor office, they know that this chapter is just not for the show, that they do something worthwhile. And so that's what we're trying to get and achieve here. Activities, a lot of chapter programs. What we will do is we'll send you some samples, but we do not want this is you're reporting what you did throughout the year from 7/1/2025 to June 30, 2026. Going forward, we will, in our next chapter chats, provide you some examples and samples so you could basically do that, bring it on your campus if you needed to. So, but I just wanted to kind of explain that before I touch treasurer's report. Now, treasurer's report is filled by the treasurer of the chapter. Most of the chapters, if they're small, the president acts as a treasurer as well. They wear two hats. So that's okay. But it's pretty simple. You're basically reporting, and this is not something this is the bank information, whether you have a tax ID for the within the United States, for Canada and international countries. I do not know the rules, but if you don't have a tax ID or you're not registered as a nonprofit charity, then that's what you need to mention is saying we are international. You would not provide, and that's okay because it's not mandatory. But that's what this is. This kind of gives us, we record this in a database. So this is good for the succession. If somebody were to leave and you don't have paperwork at your institution, at the chapter, then they reach out to the headquarters and we provide that. And that's why we just keep it. We do nothing. If your bank has more than $10,000, it doesn't matter to us because you're independent. That's your money. You're not going to take it. You're going to use it for your chapters. So it's just the information purposes, and it's also confidential information. So we do not allow but the finance staff and the membership chapter staff to see it. Not everybody gets to privy to those reports. So the first one is basically, so we pre-fill your chapter name and ID. You will put your name and submitting officer name. You'll have to put that in, and the position, of course, that will be pre-filled. Um, this is whether you're nonprofit, tax exempt, or exempt under 501(c)(3). Nonprofit, most of our chapters are nonprofit within the state of any state that you are in within United States. You have to register with the state, and then you register with the IRS, which provides you with the EIN number, which is the chapter tax identification number. That is required to open a bank account if a chapter wants to open its own bank account, which is why you need to have that. And then, of course, once the IRS knows that you're on there, they will come after you within 3 months, 3 years to say, file for tax exempt status. But if you are a small chapter making less than $5,000, you just call the IRS and say, waive this requirement because we are not making more than $5,000. We're not raising funds by doing fundraising. And they will do that. So then you'll be exempt from filing for tax exempt status. Bank information, what's your bank name, account number, who are the signatories on your bank account, basically. Who are they? Because it's very important. Typically, it's a president. We always say have two. President, treasurer must be on that signatory. So as a signatories on that bank account. So if somebody goes away, somebody else does have a right. We have many instances where chapter treasurer is gone, and he or she was the only one who opened that bank account. They cannot touch it. The bank will not allow them to touch, even if they provide certificates from the headquarters. It's just they will close the account and send the proceeds to the headquarters. They will not give it to the next officials. They're strict about it, and I understand that. But that's what happens. So it's very important to have two. It's just the next. Okay. And then also we try to have you sign up for the electronic fund transfer. Uh, about 90% of our chapters have opted for this so that the funds don't go through a check. We just electronically deposit the money because it's the support we provide to our chapters 3 times a year. And so it's very important that we have this information. So if it's released today, it's in your bank account tomorrow. Much more liquid than waiting for the check and check getting lost. This is the financial information. So basically, there'll be cash at bank when on July 1, your statement will say that, and that's what that is. And then if you don't have any deposits, some of our chapters are very large chapters. They do have certificate of deposits. They do have investments. So they put that in there. But if you don't, it's a small chapter, it's okay. You probably have a small balance in the beginning. And then next, at the end, it will calculate itself. So you don't have to really total or sum anything. Same thing here. Once you put the receipts that we send to you, um, local dues or anything that you receive from us, any gifts that you receive from a third party, you could put that in there. Endowment income, again, chapters do have endowment. Some of our chapters do, large chapters. And so they put that in there. That's the dividend and interest and any other income that you collect. Sometimes some of our chapters would have a nice job fair, or maybe they have a student research conference on their campus and there's a registration fees. That's the other income. They'll put that in there too. Then your expenses. Travel expenses is basically coming to the meeting once a year, once in 3 years. Registration fees, of course, the chapter will pay on behalf of the representative. We don't expect the chapter officer to pay out of their pocket. So that's what that is. Any awards that you gave out. There are some chapters that give out student research conference awards to the research students that have done research. They do have a small research conference or symposia on their campuses, and the chapter will say the top award winner will be given an award from a chapter. So that's what that is. Any scholarships that you give, any program operations, you could have a banquet. And then the induction ceremony, you spend money on that. You would put that in there. Any miscellaneous expenses that you incurred, all that together. And all our chapter officers should be reimbursed for any out-of-pocket expenses that they incur on behalf of our chapters, on behalf of the chapter. So that would be also listed here. So, I mean, we try to do this in such a way that we provide funding. Our chapter officers must not pay anything out of their pocket. Your time essentially is what we need, and that's all you're giving us. So we don't want to pay any financial obligation on behalf of the chapter. You'll be reimbursed by the chapter, and the chapter must reimburse you. And if the chapter is short on funding, you can always request subsidy from the headquarters, and we'll provide that. With that, this is the end of our presentation.